Hey guys, welcome to a Monday review on the Real DVD Watchers. This is going to be a review of Saw 4, 5 and 6, which I watched fairly recently for the first time, even though having said in a recent video on my channel that I'd lost interest in the franchise. I don't know, I guess just, horror, October, horror, I don't know, I felt like watching them. And it's going to be, I guess, general thoughts on the Saw franchise, sort of. It's, when I watched number 4, I already knew the twist of, spoiler alert. Okay, spoiler, ready? Okay, spoiler, got a little, spoiler alert there. Um, I knew the twist as Saw 4, which was, that it's all happening at the same time as Saw 3, and the FBI guy is Jigsaw's accomplice now that, Jigsaw's... so I knew sort of what was going on in Saw 4, and I kind of caught some of the clues to the ending. But I didn't know the ending to Saw 5, although, like, I pretty much saw it coming. It was really, really obvious. The ending to Saw 6, I didn't see coming, but I don't really remember what it was at this moment. Yeah, so I suppose you could say Saw franchise is sort of a guilty pleasure and also not. Like, I didn't really like the third one, and I really remember loving the first one, and then just like, the twist at the end was like, what the fuck, and then Saw 2 was like, oh, they're going to do another twist, oh, this is pretty cool, and then they did, and it was like, well, that's pretty cool. And Saw 3, I was just like, this is too far. This is way, way too far. I think the problem with the Saw franchise is it started out as this quite intellectual thriller with some kind of gory stuff going on. And you had some good actors in here. Like, you had Ben from Lost, you had Danny Glover, you had the other guy from Lost. You had the Dr. Gordon guy, and then it just kind of became a gore fest, especially from the sequels. It just became this big gore fest where it was like, they start off with somebody being tortured, and they just kind of repeat this thing of, like, the kind of cuts as they'll, and then the camera's going around and it'll be like all these kind of flash cuts, and it kind of gets annoying, and it's just sort of like relying on visuals more than, like, story, relying on gore and visuals most certainly. And it's frustrating because, the traps in Saw 1 were, well, especially the main, like, trap of the film was more kind of psychological, and it was cool as well because you didn't know what was going on. Then it was kind of revealed, if I remember correctly, at the end, sort of the game, I guess. And then it just becomes, become about the torture and the mutilation. Is kind of disgusting. Saw 4, I felt I kind of enjoyed it, but also not. It was really thinly plotted and just felt like it was skating on ice. Just, like it could just break at any moment, and it was just so thin, and it just really didn't feel like it had any substance to it, or like you really cared about the characters. And also what frustrated me was because they were trying to move the plot along so quickly, keep it within that hour and a half time frame, it just was like, it was like the guy from Gilmore Girls in the event, Scott Patterson, as the FBI guy, he just knew everything. He they were going to place and there'd be like photos on the dead body, and he'd be like, see this, blah blah blah, he'd somehow know exactly what was going on all the time in the Saw 4. And then he was a better in Saw 5, I think, because he was slightly more interesting, but still, yeah, the characters definitely in Saw 4 weren't really interesting. Like the Riggs character, was it Riggs or Rig? No, that's not even his name. The main guy in Saw 4 was just kind of bland. And then the guy who took over from Jigsaw was also kind of bland and just he just didn't have the presence of is it Tobin Bell? I can't remember his name exactly. The original Jigsaw guy. Um, yeah, so when all the kind of new characters they kept introducing and just bland, whereas the characters in Saw 1 were really interesting. And again, not so much in Saw 2, but still a little bit. And I would definitely at the end of Saw, spoilers again, spoilers. At the end of Saw 2, when what's his face, Donnie Wahlberg gets locked away in the thing, and it's like kind of a repeat of the ending of 1, and Amanda's like game over or something. It was just sort of like. I didn't think that I cared, and then but by when spoiler alert, when the Scott Patterson character, the FBI guy, was killed in Saw 5, they were kind of meshing into one now. At the end of Saw 5, I think I didn't really care. And Saw 6, I actually did quite enjoy though. I mean, like in a sort of, I know this isn't that great, but I'm kind of. I felt a bit more invested in it, and just I felt like I don't know, it was just a bit more interesting, and I liked Julie Benz in it as well. That was kind of cool seeing her in that. But yeah, the traps were kind of cool, even that and then the whole thing, everything has a twist ending. They're starting to feel less like twist endings, and I think the fact that the films are very reliant on the twist ending is kind of frustrating. But and it's just kind of gimmicky after a while. And although saying that, I think the last one, Saw 3D, does look pretty cool, and I'm curious to see how they end it all. If it will end on a twist, or if they'll just close it up. Anywho, yeah. Saw 5. Where were we? Yeah, Saw 6 was quite interesting. I really liked the scene on the, I guess, kind of spoilers, on the Ferris wheel, kind of, no, not Ferris wheel, roundabout. Where all the people were chained to the roundabout, and there was a shotgun there. That was cool because it felt a little bit more like, I like to seeing all the characters like plead for bargain, and they're like, like I'm pregnant. No, she's lying. She's fucking lying. And it's like, no, I have my kids to look after. And my parents are sick. All that stuff. I thought that was really cool to seeing them all kind of bargain for their life, and then flipping things on the head a little bit, and yeah, and even though you go like, well, okay, what's the twist going to be, and it was like, oh yeah, pretty cool. So I'm definitely, the sort of franchise filed under guilty pleasure. I kind of enjoy them, but also, understanding they're not particularly well made or original, or well made films, or now they're not particularly original, since the first one's happened, but I do like them in a sense, and I'm curious to see Saw 3D, but I'm probably not going to see it in the cinema, and if I watch it at home, I'm not going to really watch it in 3D. I mean, I don't think it'll be, it's particularly reliant on 3D. It'll probably just be the idea of like, seeing people on those traps. I'm sure, and some people would love that in 3D, people cutting off their arms or whatever, getting. One of them's in public, isn't it? That's like in a shop windows. That's kind of cool. Anywho, yeah, still franchise, guilty pleasure. Just couldn't really think of what to review, so I just thought I'd do this ramblings. Didn't realise I'd gone for quite so long. Yeah, hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next week for whatever week it will be then. Okay, peace.